all liquids are not soluble in each other. Some liquids are insoluble, and the term used for that is immiscible, like oil and water. Oil cannot dissolve in water. In fact, that is the reason why bile is useful in the case of digestion, because fats cannot be dissolved in water. So they need bile. Bile emulsifies fats. Otherwise also, when you cook at home, in a curry you will find oil or ghee is always floating on top. Why? Because it is immiscible, number one. Number two, oil is lighter than water. So if in a lab you want to separate oil and water, you can use a special type of funnel which is somewhat like this. There is a stopcock. We put the mixture of oil and water in it and let it stand for a while. After a while, oil being lighter will come on the top. Then you can put a beaker below it, open the cork, water will flow in it. Once the water has totally gone out, you can change the beaker and collect oil. This kind of funnel is called separating funnel. So the application of this method is that oil and water can be separated. And even when we are extracting iron from its ore, the waste, which is called the slag, can be removed by this method. During extraction. Now, what is sublimation? Sublimation is when a solid directly changes into gas. And in last chapter we studied there are some such volatile substances like naphthalene, camphor or ammonium chloride. Now imagine if you have a mixture of a substance which is volatile and a substance which is not. So what you can do? Do sublimation. Heat them. The one which is volatile will change into gas and move out, and the one which is not will remain there. Something like, say there are two friends, one gets angry very easily, other doesn't, and you want to separate them. Irritate the one. The one who gets angry easily will move away, will storm out, and who will be left? Only the other one. So another method can be sublimation. For sublimation, you will take the mixture in a watch glass, cover it with a funnel, plug it with cotton, fix on a stand, heat. Ammonium chloride will sublime and will be on the neck, and salt will be left behind. So when you remove the funnel, this is where you will get ammonium chloride. And in the watch glass will be salt. So just by having to know the difference in their physical property can be useful in separating them. So even when you want to separate people, if you know their basic nature, you will be able to separate them. But why should we do? Take a strip of a filter paper. With the help of a pencil, mark a level at about 3 centimeters. Then put a drop of ink. Now dip it in water. as the water will rise up, you will find this ink will spread here. And then you will realize that ink is not made up of only one component. Even when we want to study which pigments are present in a leaf, we use the same method. And this is called chromatography. So, which property has been utilized? The rate at which a liquid flows. This method can be used to separate colors from a dye, pigments of leaf, and drugs from blood. So this method is also very useful. Evaporation is a good method, but in this one component is lost, and that is water. But what if we want both the components? Or especially if we want absolutely pure form of water, then what do? Then the method used is distillation. In distillation, we take a mixture in a round bottom flask, pass the delivery tube in a condenser, or we can simply put beaker in a bigger beaker containing ice. Now what will happen when you will heat this mixture? Water will evaporate, pass through this. As it will pass through the condenser, what will happen to vapors? They will condense, and then it can be collected in a beaker, and salt will be left behind. Now actually speaking, rain is a natural method of distillation. That is why rainwater is considered the purest form. But human beings have not even left that pure. These days what we get is not rain but acid rain, because all the acidic oxides are getting mixed in. Now what are physical changes? When a change occurs and only the physical properties change and not the chemical composition or the chemical properties, then it is called a physical change. Like when ice changes to water, it is a physical change. And usually these changes are reversible. Only the physical properties change. And no new substance is formed. On the other hand, if you burn a paper or a matchstick, what happens? From the ash, we cannot get back paper, which means it is irreversible. Then, ash has entirely different chemical properties. So, not only the physical but also chemical properties change, and a new substance is formed. So, when a new substance is formed and both physical and chemical properties change and the change is irreversible, like milk changing to curd or paper changing to ash on burning, then it is not a physical change, it is a chemical change. Now, what is burning off, or this, you can say, what does candle do? When we burn the candle, then which change is it? Both, physical as well as chemical. Because the burning part is the chemical change, and the melting of wax is the physical change. When milk changes to curd or when the food is cooked, it's a chemical change. When ice changes to water or water to vapor, like in water cycle, it is a physical